on one end goal instead of always feeling like kind of under pressure. That might be, yeah, a good change. What about this one right here, this second one? What did you draw? What does it mean?
That's a straight-faced emoji, wondering if I studied sufficiently for this test on Friday.
Okay.
I always don't know if, am I done? Or am I too tired and I'm not really comprehending anymore? I'm all just wiped out.
Okay,
and then go ahead. Sorry.
So you sometimes feel, kind of unsure and unaware of if it's enough or what you should be, maybe study skills. We'll focus on that. That's a good idea. And what about this last little guy?
That's a smiley with a question mark in the middle. It's wondering, the feeling of wondering what I got on an exam. You always can feel like, oh, I did a good job, and then you get the test on Monday and you bombed it. And the whole weekend you thought you did good, or the whole weekend you might think that, oh, I wonder if I placed well, and then Monday you get the news.
So if you're waiting for your test result, it could be kind of stressful.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If we're able to build up some study skills or study strategies, how do you think that might affect your last emoji with the question mark face?
If you were able to do exams only twice a semester, you'd only have to have that feeling twice a semester. If you were able to improve your study skills, you might feel confident the entire weekend after taking the exam, and actually continue feeling confident once you receive your results on Monday.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. If you felt more confident going into the test, how do you think that might play into when you're actually physically taking the test? If you go in it feeling confident versus if you go into the test feeling unsure of yourself?
You might answer the questions with your gut instinct initially, not question every single question and how you answered it, and kind of doubting yourself.
Okay.
If you went into it with more confidence, that would definitely help.
Yeah, maybe not so stressed out and second guessing yourself and being more confident. Definitely seems like it'd be easier if you feel confident, whether or not you might not remember the question, but just feeling confident definitely seems like it would help. Good. I like all the choices you picked. They definitely seem like, accurate for somebody who's feeling stressed or maybe not sure of how to study properly, or, unsure about their test that's coming up. Well, that's really good. So, excuse me, my throat's been kind of scratchy. As we're, kind of approaching the end of our session, just want to kind of wrap up a few things. If you're focusing on your GPA and maybe study skills because you want to raise your GPA, and to get there you will need some, improvement on your study skills, do you have any techniques or any study skills that you use currently? Like normally if you were going to study for a big math test or a big history test, kind of walk me through what would be some of the steps that you would normally take.
During the lectures that the professor's giving, I'll record the lecture and I'll put my phone on the desk, and then I'll use another phone to take pictures of the slides, and then I'll try to listen to what the professor's saying and take my own notes. And then after the class is over, I can go over the recording and my pictures of the slideshow and take more notes after the fact.
Okay, that's a good idea. When you do that, if you take all the notes and you take in some pictures or recorded the lectures, what do you do when you go home? When you're studying for the test, say on Friday, what do you do at night throughout that week prior to the test?
I play the lecture and take notes on flashcards and try to study the flashcards just throughout the day.
Okay.
Not leave it all for one day.
Yeah, definitely can't procrastinate too much.
No.
You don't want to be stressed out. So all those things that you've mentioned sound really, they sound like great ideas. Definitely seem like they would be very helpful when you're studying for your test. If you're doing all of those strategies that you've mentioned, what do you think might cause like your stress or unease when you're going into the test?
It's easy. I don't know of all the bullet points I have. I don't know which ones are important and which ones are not important, and which ones I'm getting tested on and not. So it's hard to memorize 30 bullet points and you only get quizzed on 3 or 4 of them.
So how to find like the most important information that'll probably be on the test or the quiz.
The professor doesn't want to give it away, and it's hard to...
Yeah, definitely. That can be challenging if you have a whole chapter to test on and what is actually going to be on the test. But what do you think about, say, if for a history test, for example, and it's on chapter 2, and the teacher, like when I was in school, the teachers wouldn't give a study guide. They'd say anything in the chapter could be on the test, so you got to review the whole chapter. So it's like, oh my gosh, that could be overwhelming. It's a lot of material. Maybe like one strategy I suggest that might work for you, if you have your notes and say you have 10 pages of notes that you took in class from your lectures and PowerPoints, maybe shortening them up. So if you start with 10 pages, highlight and take out the most important things, kind of shorten it down so now you get to 5 pages. And then keep doing that for every few days. So by the time you're done with your 10 pages, you've kind of shrunk it down to maybe like 1 page double-sided of all the bullet points, notes condensed, so that it seems less overwhelming. Do you think that could be a useful approach? Since you say you're kind of concerned with having this much information, how do you funnel it down to, what is the material that's going to be on the test?
Yeah, that could help, but it still doesn't solve the issue of knowing what could be on the exam. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Well, I mean, and the teacher is not going to be able to tell you exactly what, bullet point or what question or what definitions on the test. That's kind of a hard one to answer, but I think if you're just kind of getting all the material that you have, whether it's like vocab and lecture notes or outlines or anything like that, and just condensing it down to like more concise, shorter versions of what you've studied, that way it doesn't feel as overwhelming and as much material. Because you want to, if you have a whole chapter, it could be 50 pages. You're not going to be able to go back and remember every single page or detail, but how do we take those 50 pages and shrink them down and down and down? One thing that I would do when I was younger, if I was taking notes, let's see, start off with like half a page, and I would take, for each page of notes that we got in class, I would shrink it down to only half a page. So now you have half a page of notes, and you can either shorten the sentences, shorten the phrases, things like that. So you're not necessarily writing smaller, you're writing better. You're getting all your ideas kind of combined and concise, so that way now you have half a page. And then I would do the same thing the next day, shorten the things I'd written down and make it even smaller. So that way I would be kind of concising like everything into one small little package. So that way it doesn't seem as overwhelming or daunting. So that way when you are studying, it's a little bit easier.
That's a good idea.
But I'll have you try that. That's going to be my homework for you for this week. I know you have some tests and stuff, but since you are going to be studying, I think it's a good time to test these out. Do you think this week you can try out some of these strategies that we've been talking about?
Sure, that'll be fine.
Okay. So I definitely suggest taking your notes and maybe spending 20 or 30 minutes a night reviewing for your test, but while you're doing that, shortening them down and condensing them from however many pages to try and do like half of that. So 5 pages to 2.5 pages or so on. So really kind of weed out what you've written that maybe doesn't need to be there, or just shorten it, your ideas a little bit. And so when you come back next week, I want to see how you thought that might have helped you.
Okay.
See if that helped, because you're not really cutting everything out. You just are kind of refocusing on how you study, and maybe the size of the material won't seem as intense.
All right.
Okay, so kind of wrapping up our session, do you have any questions or anything you're thinking before we leave?
No, I liked your suggestions, and I'll give them a try.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear that you thought they were some good ideas. I hope you are able to have a great week with studying and getting all your tests done, because I know it's like the week before winter break, and you guys want to have a fun time when you're off on vacation. So get those tests done and do them well. So hopefully, definitely these ideas work, and I'll see you next week and see how everything goes. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thanks.